Many of my clients are in a place where they're ready for a career change. They've realized they've hit their point of growth in their company, or they're just ready to do something completely different. Some become entrepreneurs, some change career paths altogether. So I wanted to interview someone who could give us some guidance on how do we navigate changing careers and still keeping our relationship strong. I brought on Christelle Pillot, a coach, speaker, and career consultant who helps women create impactful, financially rewarding careers without sacrificing balance or well being. After earning a degree in chemical engineering, she spent 15 years in international sales management, leading business expansion across continents from her base here in Germany, though she's originally from France. Along the way, she discovered her true passion, the psychology of human connection, resilience, and growth. Her professional journey, rich with global business experience and cross-cultural collaboration, laid the foundation for her work today as a coach and founder of the Freedom Catcher Academy. But Christelle's path wasn't without struggle. In her mid-30s, despite outward success, she faced burnout, depression, and a loss of purpose, an awakening that redirected her life. Returning to her lifelong meditation practice, she began teaching mindfulness, stress management, and emotional intelligence, eventually dedicating herself full-time to coaching in 2017. Since then, she has guided individuals and organizations worldwide through workshops, keynotes, and mentoring, always with the focus on empowering women to align success with authenticity and fulfillment. I know you're going to enjoy learning from this interview with Christelle. She was able to share so many words of wisdom on how we can have difficult conversations with our partner around, hey, I'm thinking about changing my career, or hey, I'm not happy anymore in my work and I want to try something new. From her own experience and all the women and men that she's worked with, she gave us a lot of really good, deep insights into how we can navigate this together rather than apart. So go grab yourself a warm drink and let's dive in. Welcome to Relationship Reset, Reignite, Reconnect, Rebuild, the podcast for high-achieving couples who want to transform their relationship from surviving to thriving. I'm Katie Russler, a relationship coach and counselor with over 15 years of experience helping busy, overwhelmed couples rebuild connection, trust, and intimacy. If you've been together for years and feel stuck on autopilot, disconnected and frustrated by constant miscommunication, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll explore practical tools, relatable stories, and strategies to help you reignite the spark, rebuild your bond, and create the relationship you've always dreamed of. Because no matter how long you've been together, it's never too late to hit reset. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the podcast. If you've ever thought about a career change or your partner's starting to ask those questions, this episode is for you. I have Christelle Pillot, and we're going to be diving into how do we navigate career changes and how it impacts our relationship. So Christelle, thank you so much for being here today.
No, thank you very much for having me with you. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, so share a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay, what I do now.
Yes.
So I was chemical engineer. I'm French. Okay, first of all, I'm French. I live in Germany. I was chemical engineer as I came in Germany. That's why I came in Germany. And I have done a lot of sales around chemistry, chromatography, and I'm not going to go in details there. Really interesting. But at some point I felt empty, so I decided to move to coaching. I am now a career transformation coach. So I help people, mostly women, mostly international women, to shift to a new career, to design a new career with more meaning and more fulfillment, more ease, more purpose.
I love that. And the fact that you work with international women, we're a fan of internationals on this podcast because most listeners are in bicultural relationships or live abroad. So tell me, what are the trends you're noticing with your clients that you work with around wanting to change their careers? Are there things you're noticing you're like, oh, wow, this is coming up often?
I think now, really, more or less since COVID, so people really think about, I still have maybe 10 years or 15 years to work, and I am kind of at the top of my branch. So I know what I do, and I feel exactly what I felt. I feel exhausted. I would like to see if there is something else. I would like to see if I cannot have an extra impact in my life. So I think that existed already before, but after COVID, that came even more. And what I can feel as well right now, like in Europe, is as well like people with a nice career, they feel as well that there is a lot of uncertainty and they would like to be prepared if the company decide to fire them, or if just to see if they are still competitive and to be sure that they are prepared if something happens. So it's kind of a combo of both. Like, I don't feel good in my work like right now. Maybe there is something else that could be more impactful. It's really more about the impact. It's really more about how can I contribute better. And at the same moment, it's like maybe I need to look at my strengths and how I can contribute better because the world is moving and changing. And if I don't move with the world, what's going to happen with me? And I still have 10 years, 15 years to work.
So it's really about a question of legacy. What impact am I leaving? Now, I'm like you said, post COVID, it's like, okay, I only have 10 more to 15 more years. What is it I really want to be doing? The uncertainty of so many markets right now that are changing or laying off people. And we saw such an influx of that over the last 10 years that it's a good thing to be concerned about. And then I think the third thing you were talking about is just us being able to really make sure we're doing what we want to be doing, what we enjoy, because as you said, you don't know what's going to happen next. But really finding that purpose.
Yeah, it's really finding how special you are and where you are really good at and how you can contribute, because it secure your future and it's secure. And then you have the impression that you have better impact. And then there is less stress kind of, because the world we are in right now, it's moving so quick, so fast. And people like with 50, they think that, well, I am expensive. I am an expert where I am, but it's boring. And the young people, they arrive and then AI arrives as well. And oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And if you stay there, at some point, you feel the anxiety as well joining. And it's not good for your health. It's not good for your capability to be impactful at work. So you feel even less impactful, and it's really like a bad circle you are in, and it's not good for home as well. It's not good for the relationship that you have at home with your children, with your husband, wife. Something happens there too. So that's why it's important. I really feel that it's important to have a look at that and to say, okay, how can I, with 15, we are still young. We still have so many things to do. And at the same time, so many of us will be like, yeah, I have already like 25 years experience, so I am like old, but it's not true. And you still have children around and so on usually. So it's important to think about what kind of mission you have at work, at life, and it's the right moment to think about it.
Yeah. How have you noticed facing decision to change careers affects relationships? Because you just mentioned like even being unhappy in your job impacts your relationship and your home life. But what about the decision to leave? What are you noticing impacts the relationship?
Well, it's really difficult indeed. So for some of us, it's really difficult, not for all of us. But I can say for myself, or even for my husband, for me, at some point, so in my case, it was clear. I needed to shift. I needed to change because I had the impression that I was losing everything. My role as a mom, I was not the mom I wanted to be. My relationship with my husband and at work. So everything was like, oh my God, I am losing everything. I really need to do something about that. And it was difficult because of all the steps, but as well because of the relationship that I had at that moment with my husband. He wasn't happy with my shift. For my husband, last year, he had to shift because he get fired with 50 plus and was like, oh my God. So, and then I have seen, so because I am like, it's my job, right? So I was like, everything fine. It's going to be great. So you are going to find something else or we can do that. And so I was like excited. He felt a little bit released. And then I can see that the fact that he changed his job, he was far more light and happy and energized, and his health went better as well because he had to move again physically and mentally. And then each shifted something. Even the children, they say, that is like, they feel like this movement inside of the family, like because I was moving but he was staying like quiet at work, feeling upset about it. But now we are both moving again, and the children, they take this energy. they are like, okay, we are going to move as well. Like we are chasing our goals, and they are 15 or 13 and so on. But that gives the inspiration for the children to move as well, to think, there is something there. It's worth it.
Yes, I love that. I love that you pointed out that one of you may have more fears than the other around the job change. I noticed this trend, especially here in Europe, where there's this fear around if I don't have the other job set up, which sometimes, like when you're fired, you don't, right? That if I don't have another job, lined up, that it would be stupid of me to leave my current job because I have an income and then to have this pause, like where would we get money? How would we pay for things? There's this fear that comes up. Some of it makes sense. Some of it becomes so weighing you down, right? It's like puts you in a prison that has no lock on the door, but you feel like I'm stuck.
Definitely.
One of you may have a little more like, yeah, let's try something new. Yeah, let's do this. And the other's like, I don't know, I can't. But it can bring about good change for us in our personal growth. It stretches us. Like you said with your husband, he had to think creatively and differently and step out. And it sounds like it worked out for him, that he found, new work and
Very quickly, very quickly. So you see, so everything's fine. So when you have been maybe 25 years in the same company, more or less, then you don't have to look outside and to prove yourself again, not the same way. And then it was like, oh my God, I am expensive and I am not this kind of person pretending to be better of what I am and so on. So he was really afraid of it, but wait. And that's the thing. So like in Germany or in Europe, we have so many security around. It's kind of safe, but we forget about it. So I told him, like, look, so you get fired now, but you have like these bonuses, this security, you still have the unemployed money and so on. So we have time. But the fear comes, the fear is not rational at all. And then it's like, one of my coaches always says, when your emotions are high, your intelligence is low. It's like, oh my God, panic attack. And you cannot think anymore. And I was like, look, we have at least 2 years before it's complicated. So in 2 years, we are both mind, and it's my job. So we are going to figure that out. It's going to be fine. But it was really difficult for him to accept that. At the end, he found a job very quickly, very well paid, very interesting for him, and he's really happy about that. And it's where the energy goes up and so on. So it's not because you get fired with 50 plus that it's a bad end. Not at all. Not at all. So you still have so many things to give, to share. The society still wants you.
Yes, I agree. One thing I'd love for us to touch on is those who want to do completely new industry changing, right? Like there's something about like a career change, but I'm just changing companies.
Exactly.
But then there's like you experience where it's like, okay, I'm in engineering and science, and now I'm going to switch to coaching and I'm going to do career focused coaching.
Yeah.
Talk with me about like that process of going, I just want to change industries. I want to become an entrepreneur, or I'm an entrepreneur. Now I want to go and work for a company. What is that process like in change?
I think the most extreme process is to be an employee in, for me, in science, and then to move to self-employment in a complete different area. More than that, so more extreme than that, there is not really. And I had 3 small children at that time. And it was in a foreign country. So it's a lot of barrier somehow. And my husband was against. And so for me, it was clear I had to do that because I was losing everything. And at that moment, I thought, I know what is best for me and for the family. And even if my husband doesn't see it, I know that if I continue to do like I am doing right now, anyway, I couldn't function properly anymore. I couldn't take care correctly of the children anymore. It was really like kind of survival mode. So that's why I had the grip to say, okay, whatever you think, husband, I'm going to make it happen. However, indeed, it was complicated because I felt extremely afraid and tired and so many things to think about. And my husband not being with me, I felt really alone. And I think when you are in a foreign country, but it might be exactly the same in your own country, it's like extremely alone, and you have to figure that out alone, kind of. You don't have to, but at that time, it's what I thought. And for me, it was like, my husband is there to support me. I mean, it's the role of a husband.
Right?
And the shortcut in my mind that was, if my husband doesn't support me, that means that he doesn't love me.
Mm,
And if he doesn't love me, we should somehow finish it
right.
off. So we had 3 children at that time. I really thought about, okay, going back to France and living with my parents' place at my parents' place and trying to figure things out. I thought it might be easier to fight against my husband and so on. But then I realized different things. And I use a protocol, which is the Katie Byron protocol, the work. And this sentence, if my husband doesn't support me, it means that he doesn't love me. I work with this sentence. And then I was like, is it true? I was like, yeah, I think it's true. Are you sure it's true? Nah, I'm not completely sure. And then you can play with the sentence. And I started to play with the sentence. Okay, if I don't support my husband, I don't love him. I was like, no, that's not true. And then I realized that this conclusion was wrong and that maybe he just couldn't support me. Maybe he had his own fears and it was really crazy at home with children and so on. So it was just too much for him. And then I thought, okay, how can I, if another thing that if I don't support myself, it means as well that I don't love myself. So because you really play around with this one sentence. And I was like, oh, that is interesting because indeed I didn't really support myself. That's why I really needed the support of my husband. I thought, oh, it's not fair I am the bad girl and he's not the bad guy because I give him no choice than to follow my decision. And at that moment, I decided to support myself better and to take the support where I could have. So I started to search for some external support. And I started to find it because when you search, you find, right? So I went to different kind of coaching programs, so friends that did the same than I and so on. And then I was more relaxed with my husband and understanding that he still loved me. And if he doesn't support me, it's just because it's not in his power right now. And after that, I have seen that he was supporting me, maybe not exactly the way that I needed. But that's a different story as well, like the support, the kind of support. So yeah, definitely it was not really what I needed, but the will to support me was there.
I got so emotional as you shared this story because I just thought, I love that you took a simple sentence, you restructured it 3 to 4 different ways to realize what you were expecting of your husband, you weren't giving yourself. And I talk about this a lot that, like, often the thing that we're lacking in our relationship and angry at them for not providing or giving respect, value, whatever, we don't do for ourselves. So why expect it? And then once we do it for ourselves, we don't even know exactly what specifically we want from our partner, right? Like you said, like support, but I realized he wasn't going to be able to support me the way I wanted. I needed to go and seek it out. And it took me a while to figure out exactly what it was I needed because we don't always need somebody being our cheerleader. Sometimes we need somebody who challenges us with difficult questions and goes, well, but what's your why?
Yeah.
You want to do that, but what's your why? I just am so excited for you and your husband that you were able to do that and you didn't go, okay, it's time for me to walk away from something where it was just a new evolution.
Exactly.
Of understanding each other.
Yeah. That's why I think when you are into a transition, whatever is the transition, to be honest, so be patient with yourself, with the people around, and just take a little bit of time. Just don't react like it's again. So when the emotions are high, the intelligence is low. So just don't react. So wait a bit, calm down, think about it. And there you will see that your intelligence, your prefrontal cortex is going to work again correctly. And then you will find things out. You will discuss maybe differently as well. I have seen that at the moment I stopped to push, to put a lot of pressure on his shoulder. He was able to open up again a bit more. And then we were able to discuss again a bit differently. I was able to say, okay, here is what I would love, the way I would love you to react is this way. Can you do that for me? And then we really laugh about it because it was as well counterintuitive for him. It's just not in his character. And I mean, we have different cultures as well. My husband is German, so he's like a little bit like the German guy, the German style, and I am like the French one. And then I said, okay, I would like you to react this way. And then he tried to do that, and then we laugh because it was so not him, and so
And it probably made you go like, okay, don't fake it anymore. It doesn't work.
exactly. Okay, stay as you are. It's fine.
Let's talk about how do we work through the fear of wanting to talk with our partner about our desire to leave work or change careers. Do you have some advice for that?
Yeah, it's really not always easy because our partner, they all react completely different. So some of them are really like open and quiet and so on. Some of them are like even more in anxiety or fear than what you are. But I would suggest to try to have a quiet moment and then to share, yeah, maybe the why. So maybe you have no possibility, you have to change anyway. But if it's your wish, you can share, okay, here it's the question that I ask myself. So I see, if you know nonviolent communication, that's just a perfect way. It's something that I use a lot. Nonviolent communication, the work of Katy Barry and the Walt Disney 3 steps to change career. That's really the 3 things that helped me so much with my career change and the communication with my husband. So it's really like sharing the facts. Mm-hmm. The fact is, I have been working, I don't know, 20 years in this company or in this field. I still have 15 years to do or 20 years to do. And I would like to explore other opportunities to be ready to see if there is not something interesting, better, different. I don't know yet. And it's really what my clients, they do. They come to me and they say, I don't know if I want to leave my job now. I don't know, but I want to explore different ideas and to see if I am right where I am, then I'm going to have this confirmation. I'm going to be sure about that. And I'm going to be even more, like still performant and better and to invest myself even more in this career that I re-choose. So I would suggest, like, if you are thinking about career change, telling your partner, I'm thinking if there is not something like one step further or one step on the side, I don't know, but I would like to figure out. And I think it's important for us to do that now. Is that okay? And this way, it's like a nice start. And it's like I want to change tomorrow.
I've already made my decision.
Yes, exactly. But really like going this way. And I think it's interesting to think about it. And to be honest, like last week, I had 2 of my clients sharing that I just got fired. And I was, really? Could you see that coming? Not really. I thought it wasn't for me. I kind of knew that there is some movement in the company, but I thought it was not for me. But this time it just came. I asked her, okay, if you would have had this news like in December, how would I feel? I would be completely terrifying. But now it's okay because she is already in the process of moving anyway. So she doesn't feel completely in crisis. It's not comfortable for sure, but she feels under control. She feels that she knows what to do. So it's what I would suggest, to go in this direction. Be prepared.
Yeah. And honestly, most of us know our partners so well, we know the 25 questions we're going to get back. And so sitting down and kind of already having answers, or to be able to say, I don't know yet, maybe together we can figure out the finances. Maybe together we can decide what this might look like. And I always say, if your partner is super reactive fast, like they haven't figured out how to calm themselves, that coming and speaking to someone like you, Christelle, is perfect because then we can gather our thoughts, really decide what we want to do before we sit down with our partner. And sometimes we do have to make the decision, and our partner we're going to like be dragging them along until, oh, wow, it all worked out. And see, it was great.
Yes.
And it will be okay. But we already know if our partner's like that, right? Like we all already know if you've been with your partner for over 10, 15 years, you know if you're going to be dragging them along or not. But I think the piece that I'm hearing you say is to sit down calmly, share the facts, share the why, and let them know that this is something that together you guys can figure out. But it's really ultimately up to you to decide if you're leaving your company or not, right? For the career change.
Exactly. And don't take it personally if your partner, husband or wife, if they don't accept the idea right away. So don't take it personally. It has nothing to do with you. It's just the reaction of the moment. And I can see that from helping my clients changing career. It's sometimes it's really not about just changing career. It's about the identity that we have. And for me, like I was an engineer and so many people told me, you cannot be an engineer and then be a coach. Why not? Well, there is not the same social standard and so on. So there is so many things going on. It's not just a job and a paycheck at the end of the day. It's more than that. And some of us, we react completely different. So it has nothing to do with you. So be patient. If your partner doesn't react the way you want, it's okay. Just give it a little bit of time. And indeed, sometimes you need, because you are in the process, you take care of the process, you think a lot. Maybe you reach out a lot to some different people. So you might be faster than your partner. And it's okay. Again, so it's not because it doesn't support you that it doesn't love you. It's something different. And who says that our partner have to support us all the time? It's not really written somewhere. I don't think so. I don't know.
No. And frankly, we don't support them all the time. So,
Yeah.
so again, why
Yeah,
there's no need for permission, but there is a need for a discussion. I think
I like
most
that.
people avoid that. They're like, I'm just not going to tell them because I don't want to have permission. Well, you don't need the permission.
But I think it's exactly what you say. It's usually we do the contrary. We don't really want to discuss about it, but we want the approbation. We want the permission. And what you say, it's exactly the contrary. It's please, so discuss about, but don't ask them to agree straight away.
Yes. And their disappointment or the shame or guilt you feel, because all these emotions will come up, really don't have anything to do with the career change. It's your own baggage and their baggage.
Yeah.
So I love it.
And-
Said, don't take it seriously. If they, like let it go.
Yes, exactly. And for sure, so when there is children on top of that and so on, so there is the guilt of taking the time, maybe the money, the energy for your own career and not for the family. And that plays a role. So I am more in contact with women, so I know exactly what kind of role it plays. It's like, but so the time, the energy, the money, it's really like the three things. So, and I am very selfish to think about myself and not about the family first, which I don't agree, because if you are in your power, so you give this power back to the family. But it's the same for husbands. So, I mean, when they have a stable job and so on, and then they jeopardize everything because they don't feel happy. So it's not easy.
Well, but I loved your story about when your husband had to pivot, change, adjust, that there was an energy that shifted even for your kid.
Yeah.
And it was like you said, like we're all running now. We're all going towards goals. We're all motivated and talking about it and excited.
And then he said, "Oh, I should have done that 5 years earlier." I said, yes. But it's always like that. So we wait that the crisis come, but it's not the best way to wait until the crisis come. But at that moment, so when the crisis comes, so you need to react quickly. You are in panic. Clarity is complicated, but you are not in crisis. So you have a little bit more time to look around, to really do an assessment about yourself, what you want, how you can bring that and so on. So it gives you like this comfort or this luxus of really looking at all the alternative, even looking at how you can negotiate your next step. When you are in crisis, in a hurry, you just don't really negotiate, or you just take what you can find, which is a pity.
Definitely. To wrap us up, you've shared a lot of tips, but I like how you just mentioned about like kind of assessing and really, sitting down and negotiating. What are tips you can give for couples if one or maybe both are thinking about a career change before they make that change? What work can they be doing?
What I always suggest them to think about is really like, what kind of impact do you want to have in your life? It's not just a job. It's really like, our job is really a big part of our life, right? So it's really like, first of all, looking at like, what kind of life or what kind of impact at the end of my life, when I have to speak to my grandchildren or so on. So what are the stories that I would be proud to share with them? And maybe it's not work. Maybe like one of my clients, she just told me, but I don't want to work anymore. I have been CEO and so on, but now I just fed up with that. I want to take care of the people that I love. Okay. So let's look at that. So it's really like, what is your life mission? And that's something you can discuss with your partner. That's fun. That's really fun. What is your ideal life? How can you put that together? What are the values that you find important to you and how you can put that in your life even more? And then you look at your strengths. Usually we don't know our strength. We don't know how good we are at something very specific. And then when you have this combo, like, okay, my values, my ideal life, the impact I want to have, the strength that I have, so you can put that together and you can figure out, oh, that's the new path I eventually would like to go. And maybe you will not be able to go there straight away. So maybe you need to do like some extra steps.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. So don't hurry. So maybe it's going to take 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but it's fine. So, and maybe you will find something with your partner. I have some in my program, so usually it's for women and so on, but very often say, okay, go home. And if your husband agrees, so you can do this exercise together. And sometimes they do that, sometimes not. Sometimes the husband, they don't want to hear about it at all. And sometimes, yeah, we did that. It was so fun. And then they decide to do a project together.
Oh, amazing. That's awesome. I love that. So really looking at what impact you want to have, what legacy you want to leave. And then from that, how does your career play a role in it? Not how is the career doing it, but how does it play a role in it?
Exactly.
Because I was just thinking, I've got many clients who would say, like, at the end of the day, when I die, I want to have left an impact in my kids' lives or my friends, or, well, that has nothing to do with your career. So you definitely need a career where you have the recharge, the energy to then have those good relationships. Because I always joke, you don't wait till you're in your 80s to start living your legacy life. Like
Exactly.
you start doing that now
Yeah.
because you want people to really remember you for certain things and to impact people in that way. Christelle, do you have any resources for our listeners to kind of help them if they are on this journey of, hey, I'm thinking about, I'm questioning, I'm wondering what I should do? Or if you don't have a resource, what is a way they can go ahead and connect with you?
Well, on my YouTube channel, I have some webinar or some talk or some guests that I invite sometimes. So my YouTube channel, I mean, if they Google me, Christelle Pillot, they find me everywhere. They find my YouTube channel and there is the podcast or there is a lot of how to design your dream career, or there is a lot of things there. I try to post regularly on LinkedIn where I put my thoughts or some of my techniques, some of my, how to be visible, how to have the right LinkedIn, even if you want to change your career, how to let go through maybe the impact that you want to have. So there I try as well to give like a lot of information. In Instagram is a little bit more silly and so on eventually.
I love that. I'll make sure that links to your YouTube channel so they can watch those videos, and then your LinkedIn are in the show notes. I have really enjoyed this conversation, and I know that it's going to help a lot to realize back to like that permission and communication. How do we start to talk with our partner? And I'm glad how you shared kind of start this way, and you gave a little bit of a script, but also to let us know that like fear is normal with change. If you've been somewhere for 20 years or more, of course you're going to think, I'm too expensive. There's nothing out there for me. Or your partner might think that way. That doesn't mean you're right.
Yeah, I read somewhere that what separates us from our dream is comfort. So when we want to stay in our comfort all the time, it's not where we are going to chase our dreams. So sometimes we have to go a little bit out of our comfort zone. And again, it doesn't have to be like completely jump out, but just like a little bit. And it's what I suggest in my program is like to prepare, just to prepare. And then we go one step away from our comfort zone and then one step further and one step further. Yeah.
It's like instead of jumping straight into the cold water, it's like put your feet in, get adjusted, go a little bit, get adjusted, go in a little bit further. That's my methodology for cold mountain lakes here in the Alps. It's like, we're going to go slowly. My husband's like, jump in. No. So I have enjoyed this, Christelle, and I know that many will be connecting with you to get support, to learn from your resources. I appreciate your time and your wisdom and
Thank
being
you
able to
very
share all of that with my listeners.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for tuning in to Relationship Reset. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend who might need it too. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast. It helps more couples discover these tools to rebuild their connection too. And be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. It's gonna be a good one. Your relationship is worth the work, and the rewards, totally worth the effort. See you next week.